So to start out, there's Kino Lillly, who I think is an exceptional pickup for Surrey, and I'm really looking forward to playing in this league. I think will be massively dangerous in this league. So thinking about kind of like player types, I'm not saying he's as good as this guy, but just kind of thinking about similar play style. It's kind of like a modern guard, like kind of like Steph Curry in the way that he plays. So thinking about how a lot of Steph's damage is done off ball, like he's like terrific at kind of like passing off and maneuvering into space to get his 3-point shot off. He's really like shifty and difficult to kind of like keep a hang of. Let's say like a defender sets an off ball screen, like a pin down or something like that. He's exceptional at kind of like rejecting it and kind of like moving off into open space, because he's also got extended range. Like if you see him like pulling from kind of like a couple like 3 to 5 feet behind the line, it might just go in. His shot making from deep is just terrific. And that really feeds off well off who they signed at the PG spot in Ronald Polite. So yeah, his main skill is this off-ball kind of ability, which is, and that that just opens up space for the rest of the team. It creates a lot of space for others to operate in, because obviously the defender's going to have to stick tight to him, because if he loses him for a second, he's going to be going into space and chucking and throwing it up. So there's that. As a secondary ball handler, he can kind of, out of the pick and roll, he can make some pretty good and quick, passing reads, including to the roller. He's pretty decent at doing that. He's got, obviously, like he's still got his threat off the dribble behind the arc, and he's really good at receiving the screen and then behind the screen just pulling up. But in terms of his threat inside the arc, like, so comparatively against someone like a Jalen Ray, I think he's much less of a threat. So obviously Jalen Ray's like his mid-range bag is incredible, right? But the issue with Kino is he hasn't really got that similar sort of space creation in the mid-range, that similar sort of handle. He's exceptionally like his turnover rates are very low. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He's just not as good as creating in the mid-range, and his small frame kind of limits him. So he shot 30% in the mid-range, which is terrible, quite frankly, off the dribble. And his small frame makes it really difficult to finish at the rim, because he's also not a particularly gifted athlete. So that kind of hinders him. But he has got a strong floater game. So if he gets space, like around the free throw line, he will, pop up and throw that. And at a good clip, he shot 39% from there on his floater. So that's a danger. His threat on ball is more confined to behind the 3-point line. Obviously, as I say, it's kind of like his handle's very safe. He's not going to turn the ball over. If they double him in the pick and roll, a big plus with Jalen Ray was that he was such a good handler that he could kind of damage teams that did that, which is why Surrey was so good against Lions. He has a little bit of that, and obviously his 3-point threat is so dangerous. That he can just pull up if they give him space. He can just pull up. But it's kind of the issue is kind of defensively. So he's not. So he's definitely a 2. The issue is he's not particularly quick. He's average. He's alright. He's not a huge negative, and he has got like a long wingspan, which kind of surprises like opponents when he contests. It kind of affects players more. But like because he's skinny as well, which really hinders him. So he can be picked apart on the mismatch. Kind of like someone, let's say he's playing the two against someone like Max Jones. That's not gonna end well. And he doesn't really steal the ball much. So his impact defensively is quite bad. I think it's fair to say.